Well, hello. Once again, it's Wednesday, and in our Going Global live presentations, we're going to be delivering some content that I really do genuinely believe can be of help if you take note and then apply. So we'll just give it a second or two for people to join in, and we'll go from there. All right, well, today I'm going to talk about the 10 biggest mistakes that people make when doing free discovery sessions. Now, free discovery sessions for the last year or so have been the flavor of the month. Everybody tells us this is what we need to do if we're going to book clients. But I want to talk about the mistakes that people frequently make, and these are 10 things that stop you, or for that matter, would stop me in getting clients. And after I finish the live part of the presentation, I'm going to talk not about one or two, but 3 new services that are being offered through the Starship Academy. But that's all for later. So let's get into the meat of this week's teaching. Hi, Patricia. Long before I ever got it right, I was an experienced offline counselor or a coach. I had 20-odd years of clinical experience coaching in one-on-one sessions and group therapy, but I was a brand new online marketing guy. And apart from my group therapy sessions, I always seemed to struggle to get individual clients. And so I know how it is for a lot of people, and I've been there. I've got the t-shirts, I've got the scars. I understand, trust and believe when I say that. Then one day, a mentor of mine, a guy called Mitch Miller, somebody who in the online world I respect tremendously, he told me that I should start offering some sort of free introduction sessions. And that made sense to me, if only because, hey, I've never tried that before, and I knew that I needed to do it, but here's the thing, I was so bad when it came to doing them. See, back in those days, I made so many mistakes, and those mistakes cost me a lot. They cost me a lot in terms of time and money, and I know what it's like to struggle in business. And over the years since starting out, I'll be honest, I lost a house and I've lost a car back in the day. I've been there, done that. And then things started to change, and I began to start picking up and attracting some online clients. But the problem was I didn't charge them very much. Sure, I made my bills, but that was about it. And I realized that I was actually embarrassed or scared even to ask. And so I kept making mistakes. But the biggest cost of my mistakes wasn't time or money. It was that my mistakes cost me a lot in terms of my confidence. See, that I could just show some people that I was good, and I could do some good stuff, and I could teach somebody really well, and they'd want to hire me. But when they didn't want to hire me, I started to think maybe I'm just not good enough. It sapped my confidence, and it trashed my self-esteem. And I don't want people today to go through what I went through. So I'm going to teach you about the 10 biggest mistakes that I made and what you could do instead, so that you get clients to sign up with you right there, right then on the spot. And the first mistake I ever made was doing free discovery sessions in the first place. I don't care what Miller or anybody else told me, that was the big mistake that I made. And I did these things like crazy in the early days, and I really wanted to help as many people as I could, and I wanted to be able to charge them money, and I wanted to be able to make a good living. And I didn't have any lofty goals back then. I didn't dream about becoming a multi-millionaire or even making X number of dollars a month. All I wanted to do was make the money to pay my bills consistently while doing something I love to do and being my own boss. But man, was I such an amateur. You know, I talk to somebody and they say, okay, what do you want to learn? And they say, I don't know, you're supposed to know. And if I was lucky, I'd end up suggesting how to solve maybe one of their biggest problems, and then I'd have taken away the need for them to hire me for the long term in the first place. So here's a major problem with all this free session stuff. It doesn't matter how good your session is. It doesn't matter how awesome you are. It doesn't matter what kind of magical tools you might help for helping people make change. You can't ever change their business in one session. And you'll spend so much time with so many people people that you end up leaving no time whatsoever for making a living. See, working with clients in our business is really about long-term results. And if I'm working with a client, I want to work with them all the way until they reach their defined success. And that's never going to happen if all I have time to do is schedule free discovery sessions. But in my experience, when I'm talking to a potential client, I help them to see that there are usually a lot of issues that need to be addressed, and there's a lot of planning to do, and there's a lot of action that needs to get taken, and in the process, there's a lot of fears come up that we need to deal with along the way. So here's the way I do it. Potential client reaches out to me for an appointment. I never go looking for people. I never go knocking on people's doors. Somebody that wants to do business with me finds a way to reach out to me for an appointment. Then they get to fill in a questionnaire, which is, very full, and it's got a lot of boxes to check as many boxes as you like, and then they get to pick a day and a time when I'm free and they're free, and then they pay me $97 through my scheduling software. And only when they filled in the form, jumped through the hoops, and made payment is the appointment confirmed. Now, at this point, I know what they think they need help with, so I can structure that call appropriately. And if they become a client, I'm going to give them the $97 back. I'll discount it off of my fee but at least if they don't become a client, then at least I got paid something for my time, and it filters out all the tire kickers. And, when I started doing that, I probably gained about 20 hours a week of free time. So to work your magic, you need a client that commits to working with you, for 3, 6, or even 12 months. And personally, I insist on an initial 3-month commitment if we're going to move ahead. I'm just comfortable asking for 3 months because 3 months is reasonable for people to commit to. 6 or 12 months seems a bit long term, and so maybe if they're a bit unsure about the value or whatever, then it's a reason to say no. But people will usually sign up for 3 months, and if they don't, then I move on anyway. So regardless of what the megastars like Sam Owens will tell you, don't do free sample calls or free discovery calls or free discovery sessions. The problem I have is the word free. The second mistake is when you get in front of somebody or you get them on the phone, it's talking too much about you and your business. This is a thing that I've experienced over and over and over again. I've had so many conversations with people that are looking for me to do business with them. And, I've even signed up to the odd strategy session from time to time. But one of the things that almost always happens is when we get on a call, or if we meet face to face, it's they spend almost the whole time talking about themselves, about their coaching and all the rest of it. It did nothing to make me to want to work with them. In fact, all it does is make me want to hang up on them, to be honest. And see, guys, I don't care who you are. I don't care where you grew up or where you went to school or even who your daddy is. All I want to know is, can you fix my issue for me? Can you take me from where I'm at to the place that I'm desperate to move to? The third mistake is feeling uncomfortable when it comes to discussing fees and asking for the sale. I said earlier that back in the day, I used to be, I think, almost terrified to ask people for more than a few dollars. But back in the day, I felt really uncomfortable when talking about fees and about asking for money. And I didn't have a problem asking for the sale, but I had a problem talking about fees. Now, if you built sufficient value into the phone call, money will never be an issue in and of itself. Because if the person you're talking to really perceives the value that you bring to the table, they'll pay you accordingly. It really doesn't matter how much you ask for. If they perceive value, they'll cut a check. So this is the way I handle it. If you come looking for me, then logic says, I've got something that you need. And in the process of booking with me, you've filled out my forms and you've told me what you need. So unless I'm a complete idiot and I really screw up the call, you're going to perceive enough value to meet my fee. Here's mistake number 4. Now, on all of these 10 mistakes, we could spend a whole the whole session talking about any one of them, but I'm just giving you an overview for now. So mistake number 4 is trying too hard to make the sale. See this all the time with entrepreneurs. We're so desperate to make a sale that we get to be too aggressive or too pushy or too attached and too needy for the sales. I've had people get really aggressive when trying to sell me. Hold on, I've just got somebody who wants to know where this is being broadcast. My page. Sorry. You know, I've had people that get really aggressive when they're trying to sell something to me. And if you've ever been in a sales situation where, whether it's somebody trying to sell you coaching or some sort of service, or my absolute favorite, trying to sell me a car, when people start putting pressure on me, it feels really uncomfortable and unnatural. In fact, the funny thing is, when it comes, I hate buying cars, or at least I hate the salespeople who want to sell me a car. Understand this: if you're a car salesman, if I've turned up at your dealership, it's because I'm coming to buy, not coming to be sold to. Big difference. And the last car I bought, I walked into the Mercedes garage and I said, stop, don't all come looking for me. I can see all of you hovering. When I find what I want, I'll call one of you and then we can do some business. But when people start putting pressure on you, then it feels really uncomfortable and unnatural. And while maybe the pressure stuff, you know, once in a while it leads to a sale, for most people, they leave feeling kind of icky or dirty, and you don't want to do that to your prospects. And that's a mistake that I can't stress highly enough that you should look to avoid. Mistake number 5, not helping people or coaching them through their concerns. This is the other side of the spectrum. It's not being too aggressive or too pushy. It's when you stop entirely and just give in when people say, you know what, I'd really just kind of like to think about that for a while. Now, we don't want to be aggressive and pushy, but as marketers, our job is to help people make a decision. And if somebody's trying to make a decision about whether to hire you or not, then your job is to help them make that decision. You know, one of the questions I'll often ask to somebody if I'm talking to them on a live call of my own, or if I'm taking inbound sales calls for clients from time to time, is I might say something like, if you're wanting to think about it, then it sounds like a part of you would really like to do it, and a part of you might be a little bit concerned about giving it a shot. Is that true? And when they say yes, then you can address their concerns, which are often fears of some kind wrapped up as justification. Mistake number 6, not scheduling enough time for this strategy session. If you're going to book these things, if you're going to operate like that, if you're going to generate your business like that, hey Stan, then you have to schedule the proper amount of time. And over the years, I've tested different things and started getting more and more consistent yeses and charging higher and higher fees. But the big mistake that I would make, and I see other people making, is just not scheduling enough time for the sessions. And a lot of times, you know, I can get through those sessions in about half an hour. And I used to tell people up front that, look, it's going to be a 25-minute session. And what would happen was I'd get through the session, and then at the end, they're all super excited and they want to start work straight away. And they want to know now what we're going to do strategically and how it's going to work, and so on and so on and so on and so on. But then I have to say, look, I'm sorry, guy, I got another appointment. I got to run. And sure, we can set up a follow-up session a couple of days later, but by then, a lot of that excitement, a lot of that initial momentum is gone, and you need to start over. And so while it seems there's nothing worse than spending time giving a free session only for somebody not to sign up with you, what's even worse is having someone who's so close to hiring you, and the only reason they might not is because you ran out of time that you'd allowed for the session. So here's what I do instead. I tell people out of the gate that the session's going to be 50 minutes long. And then I schedule myself an hour because I can talk, they can talk, we could easily lose 10 minutes. But that way, I have plenty of time for the session. We're not going to run into a hard barrier called the clock. And also on my scheduling calendar, when somebody books a 50-minute session with me, I block out 90 minutes. Why do I do that? Well, if we do run over, then we have to run over a long time before I run into a problem of another appointment coming up. And if that's the case, then I just send a quick text apologizing. I'm going to be a few minutes late. But by scheduling, blocking out 90 minutes for a 50-minute call, that way I have control, and that way I can schedule sessions every 2 hours. And if I'm doing a big batch of sessions, you know, I usually restrict my sessions to 1 or 2 days a month, 3 days a month maybe, and I'll do them back to back. But if I schedule them every 2 hours, it means I don't ever have to worry about running out of time on the client end. And if things go at 50 or 60 minutes, then I've got 30 minutes scheduled that they don't even know about, plus another 30 minutes before the next call comes due. And, you know, often you can get the session done in 30 to 45 minutes. Now, if you're working with somebody, you have to believe that their whole life is going to change, that they're going to become more powerful, that they're going to become stronger, that they're going to become more capable, and all because they made this journey or this transition in their business. All kinds of things should change for them when they make the decision to hire you. I'll say that again. All kinds of things should change for them, your client, when they make the decision to hire you. And that means what you have to offer them is far more valuable than you think. So whatever you're charging for your services, it's always worth considerably more. That's why my mentor, Mitch Miller, will call me every now and then and say, Neil, I don't care what you're charging now, it's time to double the fees. And I get where he's coming from. Mistake number 7, it's packaging the services you offer. A lot of people that I talk to and I work with, they have no clue how to take what they do and package it together to make nice service schedules. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make, and I spend as much time talking about this one-on-one with clients, is this, is people insist on charging per session based on the amount of time that the session takes. Guys, you've got to get away from the concept of exchanging time for money. I don't care whether you charge $100 a session, $75, $100, it doesn't matter what the number is. The problem with a pay-per-session model is that people may pay for the sessions, then they work out how much they think you make in a week. If you're charging them $100 a session, they multiply 100 by 40, then they think, I'm not making $4,000 a week, I'm not going to pay this guy. See, when they know how much you're charging for a session, as opposed to a service or a package, people inevitably will compare it to their own income levels. And then they don't come back. Or they only come back when they're finally in enough pain to say, okay, I don't care what it costs, I need help. But or a contract, if you like, or a service that they've signed up or they've committed for 3 or 6 months of help, they're much more likely to get the results they're looking for because it's more proactive. They're going to be checking in with you. They're going to be telling you about their progress. They're going to be telling you about their challenges, and they're going to be telling you how they need your help. You don't ever have to wait until things get so bad that they want to come back. So charging by the session is a big mistake, as is charging on a month-to-month basis. Oh, you can pay me $200, $500 a month, and we'll go month to month. No, forget that. This is one of the big problems I had in the early days. If I just signed clients up month to month, they could cancel whenever they wanted, so it wasn't scary, there was no risk to them. But if somebody hired me and then canceled after a month, I'd start to feel like I'm not that good. And I'd put all this pressure on myself, and it just led to more self-doubt. And then I switched, and I started having people signing up for 3 months at a time and pay for it up front. Then we'd renew for another 3 months or 6 or maybe even 12 months. See, at that point, the client's achieved some real results. They've achieved some stuff. They've gone through some change, and the relationship that they have with me is all that more credible, because now it's based on not testimonials of other people, but their real life experience that they get, the benefits they get when they hire me to work with them. And so all of a sudden, people started getting better results, and they were sticking around longer. And when a client opens for opts for 6 months as a package from the get-go, they almost always get even better results. So now I'm starting to offer some of my clients year-long packages, because that way we get to work on their year-long goals. Otherwise, if you're just working for 3 months, you've got to work out what the big picture is, work out what the 12-month goal is. Then you have to break it down into 3 months, in 3-month stepping stones. But if you sign somebody up to work for a year, you get a wonderful opportunity to make real and lasting change in their business. So don't ever do a pay for session, and don't ever do a month-to-month contract. It's just not worth it, guys. Here's mistake number 8, offering too many options. This 8th mistake involves how you package and sell your services. Because once you start giving people too many options, the problem is they can't make a decision. And here's the truth: if somebody's come to you for help and they're sort of feeding you out to see whether there's a connection, to see whether there's a good vibe, to see whether they think that you can bring value to their table, the problem is that the prospective client has no clue how much help they're going to need to get the results that they're looking for. They have no clue. So don't ever give them the power in this situation, because if you do, they're going to make buying decisions based on budget, and with too many options it gets confusing, and so nobody ends up doing anything. So I give my people a simple choice. Now remember, these are people who've come to me, they've reached out to me, they've gone through my process, they've filled in a form, they've checked off all the things on the list that they think they need help with, they've paid for the 50 minutes, and then I give people 3 price points. And it's purely based on the amount of access, the one-on-one access to me they get. And it's take it or leave it. And if occasionally I let somebody pay monthly, then I want a 50% down payment, and the rest is all, the total is always more than the one-time upfront payment, because I'm not a bank. Lending money is not what I do. And while I have a lot of empathy for people that, see, just as an aside, I've told you before, there's only 2 reasons why people will buy whatever product or service that you're offering. Number 1 is they genuinely don't have the money. And we've all been in that position at one point or other in life. We genuinely don't have the money for something we want. Okay, I get it. But nowhere is it written down that you or I have to work with financially challenged people, unless we choose to, as part of a benevolence or a giving back. And I have people that I extend that service to month by month because I'm so blessed. But nowhere as a general rule of thumb is it written down that you have to work with people that can't afford to pay your price. And so if I do let people pay monthly, if I'm going to help them out, then yeah, you're still going to give me a decent down payment. Because here's the problem: I can help you, I can teach you, I can do the coaching, I can do the mentoring, I can revolutionize your business. But if you're then not able to pay me, I can't unring the bell. Once I've done the work, I've done the work, and that's that. So if somebody says to me, Neil, oh my gosh, this would be great. I'd love to work with you. It would be amazing, but I just can't afford that. Then I might say, well, I've got another option that might be a better fit for your budget. Would you like to hear a bit more about that? And so sometimes I'll talk about a less intensive program or an informational product that I might have, or some evergreen stuff where instead of doing a live one-on-one session, I can send them a pre-recorded version that I did before. And so I might choose to go there, or I might not. Now, in all of this, when I say this is what I do, I'm not suggesting that you do what I do, but what I do works. So either way, you want to get a clear decision. If you're going to do one of these calls, these strategy calls or discovery calls, call it whatever you want. The object of the exercise is you want to get a clear decision from the client. If it's a yes and they want a full pay, great, take the money and move on. If it's a yes and you agree some sort of monthly or stage payments, great, it's a done deal, move on. You don't need to tell them, as soon as somebody said, yes, then I can do this, or yes, I can do that. You don't then have to waste time confusing them by talking about all sorts of other options. All right, mistake number 9, not having a structure to explain what you do. Not having a structure to explain what you do. This is a mistake that so many marketers struggle with. How do I explain what I do, and how do I explain succinctly how I help people? Years ago, I made a list of all the things I thought I could do to help clients. And it came out of my counseling background, to be honest. And I brainstormed this giant list, and I had, I don't know, 40 or 50 things written down on this big piece of paper. And I thought, if I'm going to use this in my marketing materials, there are way too many things here. So I started looking at how I could bundle these things together into categories. And I discovered that there are really 5 categories that people need to focus on for getting results, actually either in their personal life or in their business. The categories by and large are the same. So when I explain what I do in my introductory session, coaching session, whatever you call it, I explain it by telling people about these 5 things. Number 1, I help people to clarify their vision and the direction that they need to go for the things they want to achieve. Now, oftentimes, people don't know what they want to achieve, and so that becomes part of the foundational process. But I can't do anything for you or your business. You can't do anything for your business or your client's business until somebody gets clear on the vision for that business. Number 2, we need to strategize their actions. If you want to achieve this result that we've just talked about, how are we going to make it happen? What do you think the steps are that you need to take to get from where you are to where you've just decided you want to be? And then I'll give you my opinion on this is how we're going to do it. The third thing is you have to help people understand the need for upgrading their skill sets. I guarantee that whatever client you're working with, whatever business, whatever niche, whatever vertical you're involved with, there are going to be certain skill sets from a marketing perspective, whether it's copy, positioning, whatever it might be, that your client needs in order to achieve some results. And it's your job to help them appreciate what those skill sets are, and then if needs be, which is often the case, teach the skill sets to them. Number 4, this is where we need to help our clients optimize their environment. Well, what does that mean? Things get a lot easier if you just clean out the environment. I'll give you a silly example. If you decide your objective is to lose weight and you're heavily addicted to Ben & Jerry's ice cream, it might help if you clear all the ice cream out of the freezer and don't buy any more. That's what I mean by cleaning out the environment. And the 5th and final thing I help people to do is master their psychology. Now, don't forget, I have a PhD in this stuff, and in a different world, I really am Dr. Neil, but it's essential that apart from teaching things like copy and position and sales and marketing and so on, that I help them release their fears, get past their doubts, get past those limiting beliefs and those insecurities, because it's only when you do that that you can help create confidence and new empowering beliefs. The beliefs that says, yes, Mr. Client, you can do this. And so basically any challenge a person or a business faces is because of one or more of those 5 things, those foundational pillars, if you like, is missing. You want to have a great way of explaining what you do or your capabilities or your value or your program to your clients, use those 5 steps or develop your own. But with a couple of decades of clinical practice under my belt, you might want to give my approach some thought. Either way, you really must have a system or a structure or a framework to help explain what you do. Because if you just say to somebody, well, we're going to talk on the phone and somehow we're going to brainstorm some stuff and I'm going to reflect some things back to you and you can bounce off me, you know what, that just isn't going to cut it. Because it's not tangible enough, it's not real. Mistake number 10, not having a step-by-step script or system. I think that's probably the biggest mistake that people make, is not having a step-by-step script for your sessions. Now, not knowing exactly what you're going to do at the beginning of the session, it's not knowing how you're going to explain everything. It's not knowing how you're going to overcome those objections. It's not knowing how to get people to sign up. It's not having certain magic phrases, if you like, to use when asking for the. You have to have a system in place. Now, those of you that have done one-on-one sales training with me, I hate scripts. I never write scripts down for phone calls because they sound so stilted and so artificial and so trite. And if you're new at this game, then the biggest problem with the script that you're following is if somebody asks you a question that isn't in your script, or it is maybe later down in your script, it throws you off balance and it's very hard to get back on track without sounding stilted. I mean, I love that if I get a call from some call center in downtown India, and you know full well they're on a script, and it's kind of fun, instead of just hanging up, to ask them difficult questions, because they won't answer the question because they have to deliver the script. So you don't ever want to have a script that's written down in front of you. What you need is a formula to follow rather than a script. And you know, in one of our coaching programs, I teach people how to have a formula, how to build value at the top of the call, how to get people to admit and accept the value of what they're trying to achieve. So when it gets down to your fee question at the bottom of the call, it's a no-brainer. You know, and I perfected the system I use over years, and you know, you make tweaks and adjustments and enhancements as you go, and it depends on which niche or which vertical I'm working in with a particular client. Obviously things have to be changed to suit a particular situation, but the basic format of my calls, my incoming sales calls, always follows the same pattern. And you know, it's the pattern that I teach, it's the pattern I use myself to, you know, to sign up clients at all kinds of rates. And I taught it to a bunch of marketers and coaches all over the place, and it's worked with people in all sorts of, I think we've worked in about 45 different niches over the last few years. Anyway, I hope you found this helpful, and if you did, leave a comment below. And remember, people need our help, so it's our job to go help them. Now, said at the top of the presentation that I was going to launch 3 new services. The first one is keywords. It's the lifeblood to any ad campaign or any SEO campaign. You have to have good, solid research and come up with an accurate list of keywords. I don't care what the product is, what the service or what the niche is. I will personally send you a laser focused list of all the keywords, the big tail and the incidental ones, that you need to put your campaign or your copy on steroids. Now, what that means is, for each word or phrase, you'll get the search volume, the average PPC click, bid, the competition, and the confidence numbers. That means you'll be able to write ad titles and copy with an unfair advantage. It's kind of like having the winning numbers in advance of the draw. And we're going to do that at $49 a month for a particular keyword, a particular niche, or if you've got several things going on, or you've got things that you need to go on for clients of your own, then $97 will get you the full research on 3. And I've been using this stuff for a little while now, and I've got to tell you, it's dynamite. The second thing that we've started to do as a service as of this month is we will handle your social media, your Facebook profile. Now, as most of you know, I never, ever pay for traffic. I get all my new business organically. And in my courses, I teach you exactly how I do it, step by step. We look at my own stuff, we look at my own post, and we look at the results that each of those posts get in terms of dollars they bring in, and we look at the format that they follow. And so the second service is social media services. How would you like me just to do it for you? Post to your Facebook pages several times a week, writing as you, not as me, but as you, in your voice. You know, talking about the things that customers in your niche are talking about. I wrote some copy for a guy called Stan over the weekend. He was one of the people that won the free service last Wednesday night. Some of you, he might well remember, and he's a DJ, and I wrote some copy for him. Before I wrote the copy for him, the first thing I did was I went online to find out what people are complaining about when it comes to hiring DJs for their wedding reception. And so the copy we wrote, and I actually posted on Facebook, you can scroll down my page and see it. It addresses the things, the pain, the beefs that the people have got today, the things that people are talking about today. I deal with them at the top half of the copy, or at least Stan does, because it's written in Stan's voice. And so if we're doing this, the whole object of the exercise is to build your audience, to build the tribe of people that follow you, the people that are starting to trust you and respect you, and then getting those people to reach out and buy whatever it is you're selling. And well, now you can do that because me and my team will do it for you. Who's my team? People that have been through my course. They can write some of the stuff and then they'll send it to me and I'll copy edit it and we'll get it right. And it's a 3-month minimum commitment, and yes, it requires a monthly investment. If you want to know more, then just give me a call. Now, number 3, I'm not going to tell you any details about before the end of the month because we're not going to go live till June the 1st. But basically, it'll be a 30-day training where you're going to learn how to get all the free traffic you can handle. I don't care what your niche is or what the niches your clients are, all the free traffic that you can handle and then some, and you'll know exactly how to monetize that traffic and how to turn that traffic into cold hard cash. And this is going to be so powerful, it's probably going to be limited just to my inner circle, but that's just a teaser. That's all I'm going to say about it for now. So if you've got any questions about anything we've covered tonight, or if you want help in implementing anything we've talked about, if you want in on the keyword service or the social media packages, then click the link. And once I get off the call, I'll put the link in the comments underneath when the video gets posted. I'll put the link there on the page underneath it. Pay the $97, which is a deposit against service, and book a call. That's it from me, and we'll pick this up again next Wednesday when we'll talk about some more things that you can use to change the way you do business, and if you're doing business for other people, for your clients, that you can use in impacting and making a difference to them. And so for now, that's it. I'll talk to you next week. You can talk to me all day through Messenger. I'll post the link, book the calls, jump on, and let's see what we can do together. All right, guys, you have a good day. Go out there, do something positive, take some action, and make some money.